I want a divorce after 7 months of marriage, and my whole family says I am being immature. Am I? My husband and I were together for 3 years before the wedding. I still love him, which is the part nobody understands. But 5 months ago, I found something I cannot unknow. It started at his cousin's engagement dinner, where I met Sloane. She was already at our table when we arrived, holding her wine like she owned the chair. And when my husband saw her, his whole face changed. He introduced her as his oldest friend, said they grew up 2 houses apart, and I smiled and said it was nice to finally meet her, because it was the first time I had ever heard her name. 3 years, and never once. On the drive home, I asked how they could be so close if he had never mentioned her, and he said, "You wouldn't get it, it is a history thing." That phrase sat in my chest like a stone. That night, I started noticing his phone. He kept it face down, always. It buzzed through dinner, through movies, once at 1 in the morning while he thought I was asleep, and every time he would tilt it away and type with his thumb under the table. A week later, I asked him straight out who he was texting so much, and he did something that threw me. He unlocked it, slid it across the counter, and said, "Go ahead." I scrolled. It was months of messages, good morning texts, little jokes, a nickname I did not recognize, and then one that stopped me cold. Our wedding was March 9th. At 10:52 that night, in the middle of my own reception, she had written, "You looked happy up there. I hope you know what you are giving up." He was texting her from our wedding. I put the phone down and said, "This is not a friendship, this is something else." He looked genuinely stunned, swore it was innocent, said if it upset me he would pull back. For exactly a month it went quiet. Then it crept back, a text here, a call there, then Sunday afternoons where he would vanish for hours and come home saying he had helped her move furniture. One Sunday I opened his car to grab my sunglasses and found a booster seat in the back. We do not have kids. When I asked, he said he had lent the car to a coworker. I let it go because I wanted to. 2 weeks later, she came to our house to, in his words, clear the air. She sat on my couch, crossed her legs, and told me that some women just cannot handle a man having history. That if I felt small next to her, that was not her problem to fix. Then she looked at him and smiled like they shared a language I would never learn. The second she left, I told him I never wanted her in my home again, and he got on his knees and promised it was over. 9 days later, we drove up to the lake for the honeymoon we had postponed. 3 days in, his phone lit up on the nightstand while he showered. Sloane. Then, a photo loaded. A little boy, maybe 4, holding a drawing up to the camera, and under it she had typed, "He asked when he gets to meet you again." I did not scream. I took a picture of his screen with my own phone and set his back exactly how it was. When we got home, he wanted to celebrate. Said let us have a proper dinner out, just us. We were halfway through the meal when Sloane walked in with her mother, waved like it was fate, and asked to join. I said yes before he could breathe. She talked about the lake like she had been there, touched his arm, laughed at everything he said. So I turned to her mother and said, "You must be so proud of your grandson. He draws beautifully." Her whole face lit up. "You have met him? Sloane never brings him around." The table went still. My husband's fork stopped in the air. Sloane's smile slid right off her face. I said, "Oh, I am sorry. I only saw the photo she sent my husband at the lake. 4 years old, right?" The mother turned to him slowly and said the thing I already knew was coming. "Wells, does she know?" He would not look at me. When we got home, he finally said it, quiet, down at the floor. "He is mine. He was born before I met you. I did not know how to tell you." I asked one question. How long had Sloane known which restaurant we would be at that night? He did not answer. I told him I wanted a divorce. He said I was being immature, that a child was not a reason to end a marriage, that I was punishing him for a life he lived before me. But the past does not text at 1 in the morning. The past does not send photos to your husband on your honeymoon. My family says I am overreacting to a man with a kid. My gut says I was never his wife. I was his alibi.